Hello everybody, welcome to Old IRIX Software Tutorials. This is a part 2, the Maya series tutorial, and we're going to go over some functionality and additional features that we weren't able to cover in the first video, and more focus on the customizability of Maya and how that streamlines your workflow. The first thing we'll have to do is I'll include in this tutorial a link. There's also a link in the original Maya thread that I made for the part 1 of this series to the Maya bonus tools, and it's something that I want to show you how to do and how to install. If we go to, let's open this guy up here, the IRIX-CC forums on the Firefox browser. So yeah, here's the original thread for the Maya tutorial, and here at the bottom, at the bottom for now, it's post number 6 here. Although, let's see here, maybe this MediaFire link. It's the Maya 6.5 bonus tools. These were built for Windows, Maya 6.5 Windows, and so because I couldn't find an IRIX download for this, what I did was I included the link here because you can. I'm going to show you how I hacked it. It's not perfect. It doesn't work perfectly, but it makes the marking menu, the modeling context marking menus, function the way I wanted to show. So at least that part will work. And what you'll do is you'll download that, and you want to go into your user folder here. So this will be user people, that's your name here, like my name's Casey. And then in that folder, you'll have a Maya folder. And in the Maya folder, you'll want to use the version 6.5, because that's what the bonus tools are built for, although there's a bonus tools for 5.0. The 6.5 tools are the only ones that have this marking menu. I'm going to hold Alt key and double click so I don't open another folder here. Okay, so what happened was when you download that guy, you'll get this folder, and you can drag the there's a file for the modules, and there's a file that says bonus tools. And you can see here in my computer, on my O2, I have this bonus tools 5.0 _ old, because this was the original folder that just gets installed with Maya 6.5. And then I have this bonus tools 5.0. Now this is the folder that comes in that file here, the one that you download here at my MediaFire account. The reason this is named this is because I couldn't get the environment to point towards the right folder, so I just swapped them out. I basically renamed the 5.0 bonus tools to _old, because there's the same tools are in the 6.5, but there's more features. And so I took the 6.5 tools is just it's capital B and capital T bonus tools without any numeric handle on the end, and that's this folder here. And I renamed that to bonus tools 5.0 because if you go into modules, this is the bonus tools that comes with, this is like a module file here. Let's look at the information here. Get info on this guy. So this is a text file, and it has, let's see here, I open both of these here. Like, so if I open up the bonus tools 5.0, you'll see that this has this, you can edit this, and what you do is you uncomment this, and it says, okay, with the plus sign, see, I tried to put the 6.5 in the same line, and it says, you know, plus these bonus tools in this folder. You see, if I look at the other one here, how did I have that one here? So this just had plus bonus tool 6.5 in this folder. So this, even though I had changed this or I had add this other one, it wasn't seeing the 6.5 tool. So there must be another environment variable somewhere this is supposed to be reading this module file and adding this folder to the Maya startup, and it's not quite doing it. And maybe if somebody can advise me in the thread on how to fix that. So all I did to do what I'm doing in this tutorial is I've renamed, let's go back a lighter here, I renamed that bonus tools plain folder to this old, what the old one was. And so this is actually the 6.5 bonus tools renamed as the bonus tools 5.0 with the same lowercase b, uppercase T. And then I just named this old, so it's not pointing. So it's forcing it to go into this folder and get all this information from it. Okay, so that's just to get us started here. So I can show you these modeling context tools. Alright, so you see once Maya started here, you see this bonus tools. This should have been there in your original 6.5 anyway, but now you see it has quite a few more tools here. And we'll get into even pulling these into some other functions. We'll make our own marking menu besides the ones that come with this 6.5 bonus tools. So one of the neatest features that started in this Maya 6.5 bonus tools that has become a mainstay in Maya and it even inspired another like a, I don't know, it's like a plugin or a script suite called May9, like MAY 9. And what it is context sensitive menus. And so it's context meaning like the menu changes depending on your selection. And the great thing about it is, like, let's say you're poly modeling here and you have like you will create a cube, you know, like I say a polygon cube, and then you know you're working on this guy. Let's go over here. Hopefully you've watched the first video so you understand what I'm jumping through here. Get this guy up a little bit. 5. Hit F to focus and zoom in here. Okay, so we have that. And you're working on this thing. Maybe you want to edit some stuff, and you go here, smooth. There it goes. Or you know, then you say, okay, well, let's modify a. You're doing a selection here, and it's like, let's grab some verts here, or maybe we'll grab this vert in the middle. And then I go here into edit polygon. I'm trying to find a vertex tool. Okay, so you say, okay, let's chamfer the vertex, and it'll split it open. You know, so you have this. And what you're doing is you could do this, and some people, what they would do is they would make a shelf. You know, and you could say, okay, I want to get those different. Here's the hypershade one I made from the last tutorial. And you say, okay, what we can do to streamline our project process in Maya is we can save the most used ones on a shelf. So you would say, okay, I want to extrude edges, and you would go into the script editor here, and like I showed you in the last one, you can grab these commands. If we go script, we'll echo all commands. And we can say, you know, tell it to spit out the commands that happen. And we go, okay, well, let's do another thing here. We'll space create. I'm about to show you the modeling context here in a little bit, but we'll just have to show you, give you some context before I can show you the modeling context. So open this guy up. We'll just turn this down to, you know, one big polygon. You go, okay, we want to get the edges. I'll right click over it, switch to edge selection, and I'm going to select these two edges. And we go up here and we go, okay, edit polygons, let's extrude this edge. And this comes up here. And we can pull and we get to extrude that, okay. Now, this might be a common function that you do. So let's go up here and find out what it was. So we'll bring the script editor over, and we'll go back and look at all this stuff here. And we said extrude edge. So here's this. And I'm going to middle mouse drag this down here. You can see that that's the command. And what you can do, you can, you know, select that with the semicolon here, middle mouse drag this up here, and now you have that. And you're going to want to name these guys, like you can float over them and see what they are, and you can even make your own icons. Like you can go into Photoshop and we can build icons and put those on there. Maybe I'll do that later in this video, show you how to put that together. And now you have these quick keys. So I've got this extrude edge here. What else could we do? So if I have this object selected, and then I grab these edges, and you can just do this extrude edge here, and now have this command in a nice convenient place. Well, a lot of people do tools like that. They'll put either the hypershade window and the outliner and a bunch of different panels that they may need, like the graph editor. You can save that once this spits out the command. When you fire it off the first time, you can save that and put it in places. And I've done that here in my hotbox menu. So if I hold spacebar and I hit right click, you see I have a hypershade, graph, outliner, and UV window. So I can pull these up really easy. I don't have to go I don't have to go up here and go, oh, which one is it? It's the outliner or rendering editor, hypershade. I have to go chase these things down and just spacebar, right click, and I have this. Now we can make our own, which we will. I'll show you how to do that. I'm also showing you just how you can make your own shelf if you like. Extrude edge is a useful tool. And then what else we have? Like that chamfer vertex is useful. So we can grab that guy and we use this and we go, let's grab this thing here. We'll go chamfer vertex, and here it is right here. Grab this guy, middle mouse drag. So there's that command. Same thing, and move it up here, and I have this. So I'm kind of collecting the tools, and I'd make little icons for them in case I forget which one. I can just see it at a glance. So there's extrude edge and chamfer, and I'm like making a shelf, and you can add new shelves. You can do a new shelf, like this would be, like this should be modeling tools only. So let's get rid of this guy. So if you want to get rid of these guys here, you can middle mouse drag this guy all the way over here. There's a little garbage can icon. You can get rid of it. And then this shelf here, we go into this little folder thing here and right click or click on this guy and say shelf editor, and I have some shelves here, shelf 1, shelf 2. I'll just rename shelf 2, you know, modeling underscore tools. Alright, I didn't even need that. Just put modeling. Just call it that. So save shelves here. No, it didn't rename it. Why didn't you rename it? Shelf editor. Shelves. Okay, that's the one I wanted to rename. Let's try again. Modeling. There we go. Modeling. Modeling. Here we go. Still I gotta hit enter. Okay, so it's not quite as automated as I was hoping. Ling, enter. Okay, there we go. And then I put shelf as like, you know, tools. Enter. Yeah, there we go. So save all shelves. And so now you see I've got a tools here with just these guys, and then I have modeling. So I get this guy here. And let's take a look at some of this. So let's see if we edit this shelf editor. We can go into the original thing here. And let's see what we can look at. We have the edit command, so you can look at the command in each one. The shelf contents shows you what's in each shelf, and then the shelf has the name of each shelf. So this is your shelf organization, and then this is what's in each shelf depending on what you selected. So I go modeling or tools, go to tools, shelf contents. Okay, so here we have this. So you can see here when you click on those tools that are on the tool menu, you see the little icon here. Down here, and it gives you this change image option. So there's that polycube cone and things, and then we could say, you know, change that image, and I imagine it would we would have to it's going to bring up a file browser, and there's these XPM files, and you would have these XPM files for all kinds of things in Maya. There's a whole list. There's all these different things here, and I wonder if they even have menu. It's like more than you see here. There's so many in the icon folder. So you'd make an XPM file, put it in your user alias wavefront Maya. So this isn't the user people name / Maya, which is where all your preferences are. This is the Maya software. This is where the program is itself, and then you could put a icon in there, and after you made it, and save it to an XPM file and use it. And then point your script or your function to it, and then it would have a little icon on there that would help you, give you the hint of what it is versus just that generic Mel icon that comes with it. Okay, so I'm going to just kill this here. So this is how you make custom shelves. Now, so we got tools, we got modeling, I have a couple functions here, and then I would modify those. So it would be under shelves, go under modeling, shelf content, and I'd pick the image here. So you got this change image. So I could make a little icon that maybe looks like this plane, like some sort of plane with a little, you know, edge highlighted and coming up off of it. And then I have my extrude edge, and then the chamfer vertex would be like maybe a square with these little guys in the middle there, and then put that icon there. And then you would have those icons there, and plus you could go over the tooltip and it says what it is here. You can also name these things. So let's see, let's go extrude edge. Let's see if I can just give it a name. So I call EXTRUD. And let's see, you can see that, yeah, this is still like the same function it has now. So even though you can type in what the icon name is, you only get about, this says it's got 6 letters here. So you get 6 letters across, even if you type more. So maybe if I do EX underscore ED, and then I've got extrude ed, so it's like extrude edge. And then this one here is the sham vertex, so I go, CH underscore VRT, and then like that. And so, yeah, so you can little hints there that help you in case you aren't going to build an icon, or like CHM uppercase V. Yeah, see, even there you can't really see the V as soon as you get too many uppercase ones. CH underscore V. Yeah, cham vertex or whatever. So that's customizing that. We can save all shelves and it saves it, and now you have these little hints there, and they give you a hint of what they're doing in case you don't want to build some icons right off. So that's how you customize your shelf. You can make as many as you want. You can do a whole new shelf and start adding tools in it. And that's one part of the customization. Now, what I want to show you though, let's show you the bonus tools. The thing that comes with the bonus tools before we customize our own marking menus, which I'll show you how to do in a moment. Let me show you the reason to install these bonus tools, because this is a feature in Maya that is still, it started here at the 6.5 with the bonus tools, and it has remained inside of Maya ever since because it is really useful. It is the modeling context menu. And let me delete this guy here. So we're here, I'm going to start out with plane now. The shift right click is the modeling context marking menu. So if you have nothing selected and you do a shift right click, it brings up this thing, and it's all this primitive creation stuff that I would use to go spacebar, create, and then you got NURBS, polygons, subdivs, primitives. And there's even one I'll link you to that gives you more functionality than just polygons, because right now this is mainly for polygon modeling, but a guy wrote one for Maya 6 and 7 that gives you for subdiv context menu too. So if nothing is selected, shift right click, you have the primitive creation. So let's go here, we got plane, we'll create a plane, right click, or hit R, scale it up. Got this, I'll go in here, grab those guys, drag over so it's just one. And I'm going to turn the shading into the wireframe unshaded, and then I'll turn off the grid. So we got this guy here. And now if I have that selected, if it's selected and I shift right click, the menu is no longer making primitives. Because I have it selected, it's giving me object context tools. So now instead of having to go look for specific tools that only affect on the object level, I have all these tools here. This is all the ones that are useful when you have an object selected for modeling. So you have separate and combine, which is useful here really quickly. You have smooth, which just smooths out the polygons. You have draw the split tool, split polygons, sculpt, which we didn't cover. I'll have to show you some sculpting stuff this time. Merge edge, cut faces, append to polygon, and these are really useful when you're in this object mode. And then if you go right click to the face mode and you're holding faces, you have this face selected, and you shift right click, that same shift right click menu changes again depending on the selection. So now you have poke faces, extrude faces, wedge, subdivided, paint. You can do polygon toggles, so you have this polygon display. This isn't here yet. This MJ Poly tools is included in this menu, but we don't have the MJ Poly tools. And those are pretty useful because they have like loop selections. Triangulate faces, quad faces, extract faces is just to pull individual faces out to separate objects. You bridge faces, I use the bridge a lot. That's pretty cool. And then let's go here. So let's go back, let's deselect. So with nothing selected, shift right click brings up the primitive. So then we can go create a cube. And then let's scale this guy over, control drag this guy, bring him up here, deselect, shift right click, polysphere, shift drag this guy up. See how quickly the interaction is here. This is a way more of an elegant way to work with Maya, because now the menuing and functionality is way more elegant. Deselect that, nothing selected, shift right click. Let's create a cone. Again, this is how quickly this is to interact with. So I'll scale that guy up. See, put it on the floor. And let's see here, I'll do this guy, raise the cube subdivisions, and we'll go mess with some of the modeling tools here. So we'll get that guy up here, focus in. Okay, so let's do something, or let's do something on the sphere here. I'll click this guy, hit F, zoom in, and let's start messing with the object context. So with the object selected, shift right click brings up, let's do split polygon tool. So now I can draw some shapes on this guy. So I'll put this guy here. I'm going to start reaching across. If you hold, does this one have it? Oh, this one doesn't have the snap. But we'll start drawing a, oh, it does have the snap. You just got to play with it a little bit. So draw this guy here, wait till it snaps. Draw this character here. Draw this here. Snapping it in the middle. There we go, and then I'll finish it by going up here, hit enter. So I've created that shape. Now I want to do the edge, and we'll pull that guy in a little bit. Let's hit F, and we'll pull this guy down inwards. So we're kind of making a little, like a machined edge here on the side of a sphere. So we've got that. And now with that edge selected, instead of having to go find in this thing, I want to use the edge tool. So shift right click brings up the edge thing. And let's do the bevel to edge. And it breaks it out like that. You can see it's keeping the history. So I got split, tweak, and bevel. Let's go in the bevel, and let's check the offset. I'll click that and then middle drag. And if you hold shift or control shift while you middle drag it, it gives you a finer, it won't quite jump as high and low, so we can make a more refined situation there. Okay, that's good. Let's go back to object and see if I can use the, I don't know if this has the edge loop in this yet. Let's see. So shift right click, draw split tool. It kind of does. Yeah, it's not doing it. So there's a, in the newer tool, newer thing, you have this, this is added later where they have a edge loop, but we'll just use the split polygon tool again. So I'll go through the middle of this character here. So we've got this. Let it snap to the middles here. We're going to create a little bit of a, or wait, no, let's go along the, I messed that up. Let's undo. I'm going to do this. Click the object, shift right click, split polygon tool. I'm going to make an edge loop around the bottoms here. So what you normally want is one tool that creates you one complete edge loop, which should be in the, it's in a later version of Maya, but at least this split edge tool kind of gives you some of the same functionality. You just got to be judicious about your spacing. And the reason why we're making these edge loops is because when you subdivide an object, the distance between the edge loops defines how it defines how tight the bevel is, and it's not exactly perfect there, but it defines how smooth it is. So if I smooth this now, this is going to be a very tight corner, and this is going to be a very smooth corner. Let me hit enter. We'll shift right click again. Oh, gotta click the object. Shift right click again, split polygon tool, and we'll go around. Oops. Wrong one. Shift undo. Select the object, shift right click. I'm going to go around the top here and make a tighter edge up here too. So go through this, and you can see that just how easy it is because I'm only looking at tools when based on my selection, it's showing me the most relevant tools for that selection. And this is, I can't tell you how many hours and iterations that simple functionality has saved me, and I've always wanted it in other programs outside of Maya when I've had to work outside of Maya. So we have that, and now let's see, we're on the object selection layer, and shift right click, and let's go find the smooth. We'll hit smooth, and then we will take that smooth face over here, and we'll divide it by 3, and we'll see what it looks like. Create a kind of like a hard surface, like a way something would appear in like a mech or a robot or something you would use ZBrush for today. Deselect this guy, and we'll turn off the wireframe unshaded. There we go. So I've created a kind of a neat little, you put like 3 of those in a row, and it looks all like some, mech suit feature detail kind of thing. And so you can see that this is really useful for trying to do a lot of different modeling functions. Let's hide that guy, it's pretty high in poly. In Maya. So let's see here. I'm deselect, shift right click, I'll create a cylinder, kind of what we did before in the other video. It just allows me to get to things faster. So I'll pull this guy up here, zoom in. Let's make this 8-sided. And let's do the things we were doing before. Yeah, show, isolate, select, this character only. And so now we're using the marking menus to do what I showed you before. So we'll right click, grab a couple of verts, grab these middle verts here. And now that we're doing vert selection, just shift right click again, it brings up that chamfer vertex. And let's go down to face selection, right click and hold over the object, shift select the first poly, shift select second poly. And I'm going to hit R for scale, and I'm going to just control on the Y, hit the control on Y, so we're only scaling here. And then let's try to shift right click on that. So now we got poke faces. There we go. Hit the edge tool and select these edges, every other edge, so we can make these triangles into quads. Same thing with the bottom. Shift clicking along the way, so we're adding to our selection. And then shift right click, and there's the edge context menu, just the same shift right click in everything depending on your selection. So delete that edge, and there we go. Right click here, put it in object mode, holding the right click down to put in object mode. Shift right click at the object level, so back to object thing, and let's use smooth polygon. Or we could even convert. I guess we can convert this too, although the convert isn't here. It's something we could add to a different marking menu, which I'll show you how to do next. So let's smooth that. And, we don't have enough spans here. We'll just do the old cut tool, hit spacebar out to the quad view, spacebar into the quad view. And we'll use, let's see, shift right click, cut faces tool. One here, one here, one here. Let's see, I'm going to grab those edges, and grab them all, and it grabs not only this across, but these, so then I have to control left click to pull the other selections off. So I just have this edge here, and then I can use the move tool to space it more similar to the one above. Same with this, I'll do that, grabbing all the edges, control left drag, control left drag, and then I can use the move tool to push this guy up here. There's that, and now we've got enough subdivs that won't bow out into a thing, unless that's what you want. But I put these closer so it'll be a little bit more thing. Shift right click again, smooth. Now it's a little bit more like a true cylinder. It's poly smooth face, divisions by 3, enter. There's our item. As you can see that right click, that modeling context menu it can save you tons of time. So create primitives, select an object, object modification, select faces, shift right click, you got face modification, edge selection, you got edge tools here. I do wish that we had this. See here, you have this select loop, this is grayed out. And I think it's because I need to install these poly edge tools. But the select loop is cool. There's an even ring and edge loop split. This is what we're looking for, because if you have this edge and you do a split, it'll give you a new edge loop. That's what I was doing with that cut faces tool. I can select all the edges, and so if I would say select this edge and then this edge, and I'd shift right click using this with the select ring, or select the ring will go around this way with them, or you can select a loop, which would make that whole line here. A ring is like the parallel line, so it would go to every one of these along there. And then when I would use the next tool, which is the edge loop split, what is the modern thing of called an edge loop is it would put a line through the center of all these, which allows you to add edge loops really easy. So we have to figure out how to get those MJ Poly tools in this version. And it's amazing they've been around since then, because they're still available on a few like high-end 3D and whatnot. Okay, that's one thing. Let's see what else we're gonna do. Make our own marking menus here. So let's look at that. I'll show you how to make one that's similar to my the one that I use in the hotbox. We'll just make it clean in the hotbox. So it's like this. I use UV outliner graph, which is for the animation curves, and Hypershade to bring up the Hypershade like I had before. Makes it easier because Hypershade's got a couple of menus. You go in here and then you have to go to the rendering editors and go find it. And so having a quick way to get in and out of the Hypershade is really handy. And if you don't want to bring up the outliner perspective view because you're jumping between the two different views here, you can also just have a floating outliner and get to it here without having to dock to anything. So those are quick little things. Let's try to make those. So I got tools, I got modeling, and let's go here and we'll make a new shelf. We'll do new shelf, and we'll call this just so we can grab our tools that we need for the marking menu. I can show you a couple ways here. So this will be Windows, like UI, I'll call it right now. Hit OK, and what we're going to do is we're just going to grab what we need here. Now in new Mayas, I'm going to test this right now. In newer Mayas, it's like there is a functionality where, well, this thing's banging around the cup a lot. There's functionality where if you Control-Shift-click an item, it drops it into the, it takes whatever you click and it does put it on the current selected shelf. I don't know if that's how this works now, but I'll try. So I'll go to Window, I'm going to go Control-Shift-left-click. Yeah, it didn't do it. So it would bring it up here, so it didn't quite create that. So what we're going to do, I'm going to go to the script editor here. We're going to clear the history. Okay, so this is empty, so that we can just see the command at the top if you don't want to go looking for it. Hit Window, I'll hit Outliner. And there's a whole bunch of commands that happen, but here's the outliner window at the top. I'm going to middle mouse drag that over here. You can also, if you want, you can just drop it down here in your kind of your scratch. This is like a scratch area. Enter. So we got the outliner. There's that. So we have our outliner item saved. Edit. Clear history. So we've got nothing. Let's see, what else do we want? We want the animation graph. So I'm going to graph editor. There it is. There's the graph editor command. It says you have to pay attention to this upper and lower case too. Some of these have lower case, but then the second word is an uppercase. So I'm going to grab that guy, middle mouse drag this over here. So we have graph editor. We have the Hypershade, the outliner. Oh, we didn't grab the Hypershade, even though I have it. Rendering editors, Hypershade. It's down here, Hypershade window. Drag that guy here. What else do we like? The UV window is the UV texture editor. Something to look at there, and then that one should be called texture view window. Yeah. So move this guy out of the way. Texture view window. Now, what are other ones that I haven't used in the current Maya? There should be there's one that's really handy, is this thing. It's an attribute spreadsheet, allows you to change multiple attributes at once. So I like having that one available. This is pretty cool when you have an item selected. Like, let's do the cone, let's do all those. Grab this character here. And now you see that there's this list on the right, and all the similar properties are parallel with each other. So this one shows you each one's translate X, its visibility, translate Y. You can see the different stats all in one place. Is pretty neat. And you have, this is keyable, this is the shape node keyable. There's some transform information, rotate, scale, and the render stuff's interesting too, because you can turn on and off like whether motion blur is enabled. And especially if you use OBJ files, there's this thing where if you import an OBJ file and you don't see it in the reflections or refractions, is because this is turned off. And you can see here, if I wanted to make this all visible and refraction turned off, I can drag across this thing like I did with the channel box here, hit 0. And I've changed the stats for all three of them. I have to go click, off, click, off, click, off. I've just looked at the attribute spreadsheet with them all selected. I can just slide all the way down here, press 1 for on, and it flips them all on. This is a way to kind of mass invoke a lot of stats over multiple objects. This would be really, really helpful when you have to change a lot of things all at once, like you want to grab a whole bunch of lights and change all their values at once. This attribute spreadsheet is very helpful for that. So let's see here. Oh, spreadsheet editor, spreadsheet window. Let's see if that one brings us up here. So I've got that here. Let's click that button. Yep, brings it up. Okay, click that guy. Let's float over this. That's the texture view window. Yep, brings it up. This is testing it to see if everything's going. Hypershade window, click, brings it up. Okay, perfect. So we have some stuff here. What other windows do we want? Maybe the connection editor. Yeah, because the connection editor is pretty good. Or we'll use the hypergraph I like to have to see what things are connected in each object. So let's grab that. What's the hypergraph? Where was that? Hypergraph window. Middle mouse, drag that over here. Okay, so we've got some items we can add to a marking menu. Let's do that. Let's change the items here. So let's create our own marking menu. Go down here, close that up real quick. And what we're going to do, because I'm going to drag them from here, although we can, maybe I'll grab them from the script editor too. I'm sure you can get them from both places. All right, so we'll pull this open here, and under Window, under Settings and Preferences, there's this thing called Marking Menus. There's also a thing for hotkeys too, which you can get into, but here's Marking Menus. I'm going to click that guy, and this interesting little interface comes up, and you see I have a couple. I have a hotbox and another hotbox here, Hbox and hotbox. This might be, see if I have anything in here. Okay, I have nothing in here. I'm just gonna, oh, I don't want to do that. Let's see, go back, marking menus. Okay, I'm going to delete that one. Do not back up. I'm going to create one, and we'll call this, name it in here. And you can see it has the little, almost the hotbox layout. There's some slots here you can drop things in. And we'll call this menu Quick UI. I'll do that. And we'll move this over here. And what I want to do is like the hypershades at the top. So if I look at this one here is outliner. I like outliner to the left because it's like you're pointing that direction where the outliner button is, and the outliner's on the left. So I'll usually take the outliner and I'll middle mouse drag that over to here. It says outliner window, and when you're on this character, yeah, you see, you can click that. You have to be very careful about what you click on this thing, or it'll turn it off. So I didn't save it, so I have to start. So this is good for you to see this, because there's a few ways this thing breaks. So let's try again. I'm gonna create a marking menu. I didn't name it and save it. So under here we'll do Quick UI, and I'm gonna save it. And it should do that. I'm going to close it out. And now it should be at least saved. So let's see here, marking menus. This is very tricky, the way it can turn on and off here. So now because that's there, the Quick UI can edit the marking menu and brings it up. Okay. Now when we save it, we can do stuff. So I need the outliner here. Let's see. Graph editor, outliner, middle mouse, drag that here. I like the graph editor upper left here. I like the hypershade above. See, there's texture view, so put the hypershade up here. Texture view is the UV window. It's down here. And I got this attribute spreadsheet I like putting way below. And what else? We got hypergraph window, so this will show us what's connected to what. And then what else would I use over here? This would be a different hierarchy. But this is a pretty good start. And what we want to do is we want to modify these, because it's going to say what these are. See the text in each one. So I'm going to change that. We're going to edit each one so it's a little bit more brief than what all those words there. So I'm going to right click this one at the top and say edit menu item, and it brings this up and it shows you what's inside. And so it's got, hey, I'll use this icon. So you can make these special icons just like you saw with the other shelves. Like you can point it to an icon in the icon. Just if you have a name.xpm in there in the icon folder, it'll find it and use it. And so we have hypershade window. So here's the command. You don't want to modify this because this is the mel command it's going to do, but here is just a label. So I'm going to remove that window part with that semicolon, just call that hypershade, and then save and close, and it closes the whole thing out again. Closes that, puts it behind. Let me try to get this so it's not right over the top of Maya so we don't lose it every time. So now you can see that it says hypershade, and now I'm going to go over here, the same thing, edit menu item, remove the editor part and just leave the graph. Save and close. Right click on this one. Just cleaning this up so we can change the labels. Edit menu item. And like I said, if you want to make your own XPX files, XPM files to make little icons that you would recognize. That's definitely encouraged. I'm just going to call this UV. It's easy. And edit menu item, hypergraph. Here, save and close. And edit menu here. And I just call this one, since it's an attribute spreadsheet, I go attr.ss. So attribute spreadsheet, save. So that's easy for me to see. Okay, so save that. Let that save across here. Now if I test this, you can see use left mouse button. You can test it, and you can see it's got your little items in here. And then we need to assign this to a hotkey. So I save that, close once that's saved. And now we have to assign this to something. And I had, in this one here, I assigned it. You can hide Hotbox or Hotkey Editor. My original one's up there. I'm going to use this quick key. That's the one I made, the quick UI. Go down here and say, let's use the Hotkey Editor. And it's not set yet. So it says the marking menu will be available for editing in the Hotkey Editor. Apply settings. So that now it says accessible in the Hotkey Editor. So now we're going to go Windows, Settings and Preferences, and go into Hotkeys. And we're going to give this little menu a place to live. And what you want to do is you go in the categories, you have to go all the way down to the bottom. It says User Marking Menu. So these are the custom ones. And there should probably, yeah, there's just one there because that's the only one that's assigned. And you got to press and release. And if you assign the press, it'll ask you to assign the release the same, like letting it go will take it away. That's usually the standard thing. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to go down here to this assign hotkey. I'm going to make this quick UI key. I'm going to make it I'll make it the Z key. Normally Control Z is undo, but I'll do like a Control Shift Z. So I'll do Z. And if I hold Shift, it'll make a capital Z. So now it's only looking for capital Z if you hold the Shift, and also the Control. So it has to be Control, and it does say Control plus capital Z, because that means you're invoking Shift, is assigned to nothing. And so now it knows you got to hit Control, Shift, and Z at the same time with a left click, which is the press. And you hit assign. And here's it's showing you the breakdown of how the mail works. If this exists, delete it. And then if it doesn't, let it run. So hit assign. Your marking menu will not work correctly unless you also attach the release. Do you want this to be set up for you? You say yes. All right, so there we go. Let's save that. Now save and we hit close. Now, if we've done everything correctly, we should be able to, let's see, turn on the shading here, wireframe unshaded. Now I can get those menus by, if I hit Control Shift Z and then hit left click, there's my menu. So now I can invoke any of these. I don't even have the whole hotbox. Before I had this right click, spacebar right click, and it's kind of in the middle of the hotbox, which is quick, but now I just Control Shift Z left click, and now I can grab the graph, can change my animation curves here. There's no animation, so there's nothing that shows up. I can say I want to shift click these guys and then Control Shift Z left click. I want to look at the attribute spreadsheet, and now here we are at the spreadsheet. And then what else do we want to do? We want to Control Shift Z outliner. You get to your items real quick if you don't already have an outliner open with this button here. So these are quick ways. Oh, I just need to check out the hypershade. Control Shift Z left click, grab the hypershade. So this is a way faster way of getting around Maya if you understand how the UI works and the way you can customize it. One more thing I wanted to show you before we finish the video is, yeah, we're coming around an hour here, is to kind of create macro functions. And that involves a little bit of understanding of mail scripting, more than just taking the command out of there and then applying it to a button, is to kind of create multiple functions that happen all together in one. And you can do it with modeling functions, but one of the ways I like to show people in the first tutorials I like to give is to create, we'll do another shelf here, like new shelf, we'll call this one render. And we'll call this one and we'll hit OK. And here what we're going to do is we're going to create a high and low. So it's like a preview or a production. And that's available in here, like when you go to render globals. You can save these things, like they have this preset. So when you make the preset how you want, like you have everything set up. Let's go here, we'll make it mental ray. This is kind of like the last tutorial settings I'm going to use, but we'll do a few more things. And look at all that stuff it's making. Go over to the mental ray tab, and then there's a few things we can create here. So they have these presets already, like you can create this draft, and then they have preview, which is a little higher, and then production, which is even a little higher. And this is mainly saved because you can save the presets in the render settings, which is fine for you to do stuff. But maybe you want to be a little bit more specific. I mean, you can set whatever settings you want and then go under presets and say save setting as a preset. And then when you load it, it'll be here. Like I have this mental ray linear setup here, saved from before. And what I really want to do is I'll show you how you can you're just going to create multiple attributes as one sequence of commands that gets executed in a button. Instead of just saving one command, you're going to have a sequence of commands. So let's empty this guy out here, and we'll go, okay, we want to create a preview thing. And my preview that I use for mental ray is like -4 minimum. It's -3, right? And you can see here, like I showed you in the last tutorial, you have this name, the name.attribute is set. And two of the things that you will use as you start scripting, there's two commands you use a lot. There's setAttr, which is setting an attribute, or you can use getAttr, which is in order to grab an attr from something. You can have it spit out, like if you want to grab the position of something, you know, I'm selecting this. There's one you use a lot, which is select, which is a select command you use a lot. Select, you know, flag R, like -R is recursive, or select add, which would be adding something here. Let's deselect and try this here. Just kind of show you playing around with mel. So I got select R cone, and then if let's copy this here. You can use the add key here, enter, Control V, and then instead of R, I'll hit A. I think I can add, right? Or do I have to actually type the whole thing? Control, right click. It's a valid flag. I guess I have to do add, ADD. Select add to selection, pcone1. There we go, so it selects it. So, but what we're gonna do is we'll do pcube1. So I have this select, I'm showing you how to do multiple commands. So select recursively the pcone, so it lets go. R is gonna let go of whatever and then select it. So recursive is like starting over. And then we want to get the pcube, so I'm going to type this up here. It's pcube1, so I'll CUBE, that's the transform name. And so now I'm selecting the R cone and I'm selecting adding. I'm not going to deselect the cone, I'm going to add it to the cube. And so I run those two together by selecting. You hit Control and enter if you hold Control and hit the enter on the far right, the numeric pad enter, while holding Control, it won't make the text disappear. It won't like empty the text from your text editor. It'll execute it and leave it there. So Control Enter, and you can see that, yeah, it's done both those commands. And so this is like stacking mel, so you can do multiple things. And not in this tutorial, I could point you towards one where you learn how to do the variables, like saving something in a string, and then when you're not selecting something. I'll show you, but I'll try to show you real quick, but it won't click right away. But you can save things in Maya to variables using mel, and then that becomes something that you use in like a for loop to do one thing multiple times to multiple objects. So like if I wanted to save this selection. So let's see if this works in the same way in the old Maya. Here we go. String, $, my lowercase, uppercase S, EL. I'll make it an array, so it's the brackets, and I'll hit this, and that will equal the command ls-sl and this, and I have to put those little umlauts up there. And so this is me saying save string into this variable this command, which is list your selection. And this is stuff you learn over time. So I hit enter, and it says that's a syntax error. So evidently I don't know what I'm doing here. Is it because list selection isn't? Let's see. List-sl. Let's see here. Okay, yeah, it does work. That is the command, ls-sl. But I don't know why it's not giving me the... It's not saving that as a variable for some reason. Oh, there it goes. There, it worked. Okay, so, and now if I print, now I've saved that into the variable $my selection. So if I go print $my capital S-E-L, and I don't even have to put the thing there because I've made a, this little brackets indicates it's an array, which is more than one item. And so now I can call on 0, 1, or 2 for the 3 items. But let's just see, if I print my $my selection, I save that into a variable, hit enter, and there it is. I got pcone, pcube1, and pcylinder1. And now I can say, you know, exit a command to, you know, now instead of saying, look, select recursive pcone, I can get rid of this and go $mys capital S-E-L with that little thing on the end there. And you'll see that it's going to select everything in that variable. Control enter, and now I've selected everything. So this is like scripting with Maya encoded language to create tools. But what we're going to do now, I'll just kind of give you a quick example, is you can do that with modeling tools. There's a lot of things you can do there. You can create a for loop so it saves items into a selection, and then it runs all those items through all the commands in a for loop. So for every item in a plan, do this, and it'll, you know, you can have a whole bunch of commands happen to multiple items in one simple command. But what we're going to do is we're going to use this to save a couple of settings for MentalRay here. So get rid of all this. We want to save these things. So let's do clear the history, and we just want to get some stats from MentalRay. So I want to hit this thing. I'll hit -4, hit enter. It says set the attribute to this. So I'm getting this. So set attribute mi default options dot minimum samples, and that's in quotes, so it knows that to look for that, and that's -4 is the setting. And then we got this here 3, enter. Same thing, I'm grabbing this one it spits out, dragging this down here. Whoops, get that at the end, hit enter. And that's our setting here. Ray tracing is already set up. So we have this set attribute, so you could have saved in MentalRay. You have this custom thing, you can save them here, or you can use those custom ones, you can have these presets. But what we're going to do is we're creating this buttons here so you can set these things high and low for yourself. So instead of going in here and turning on these menus, we just have a quick little button that lets you switch the quality really quickly. So it's like, okay, for previews, we got these 2 commands in a row. Default options, minimum samples -4. Mental images default options dot max samples -3. I'm going to middle mouse drag those guys here. We'll go in here and we'll go shelf editor there, and this is edit command. So there's the 2 commands together. There's the contents, and what we want to do is we'll call this min, or we can call it low, whatever makes more sense to you. And then we'll do another one that was like a little easier to see. So if you have -2, -1, grab all those guys here, and then we'll do one that is a higher quality, which is -1 and regular 1. And let's edit these guys. So shelf editor. So now we have that low, mid, click, high. Okay, so we have all those things here. Oops, I didn't save that low. Didn't save the mid here. MID, enter, save all shelves. So now we have this quick way setting our settings here. So let's watch this. So we have this too. So it's committing 2 commands every time. So if we're on low, let's hit high. See, it sets them. -1, 1. You can see that it's running those commands. Let's set it to medium. Oh, move that out of the way also. So there it is, -2, -1, low, medium, high. And it's just running those commands like in a row with each other. So we have that set up for MentalRay. So we're going, okay, let's look at this light setting here. One thing I didn't show you, the one thing I did last time, let's turn this DAG objects off because I was trying to find that. One thing I didn't do last time was we used the we ended up using the area light to light the scene, but it was I used the quadratic fall off, which is a more physically accurate fall off as far as the light transform goes, but you end up fighting with the hot spot versus the dark spot. And so even though it's a nice fall off, it's an accurate fall off, there's these aspects to it. You have to keep balancing the shaders. And so one of the things I wanted to do, which I should have done last time, is a little space bar, create a light, create an area light here, is we'll set this one up so that it is set with the linear fall off, and it's not physically accurate, but it gives you a way easier spread for the quality of the lighting. So you do get a fall off, and it feels nice in photoreal. So with the decay, let's use linear instead of quadratic. The shadows is the same. We're going to go down to shadows, and we're going to use ray trace, and I usually just turn this up to 8. It's a good default. Okay, so now we just want our low settings. Let's get our MentalRay up here. Yeah, put on low. And maybe before we do that, we'll smooth these guys out. So I'll go down here, and we're going to go, let's see, what can we do? We can round this guy out. Let's go to the channel box. This polycube. Let's do 3 divisions, maybe. Yeah. Do 3 divisions. Or maybe we'll try, I don't know if the bevel works the same on this newer Maya. Let's try 1 real quick, and I'm going to see if the edge bevel works the same in the new one with the corners. Okay, I've got all those guys. Shift right click like we were looking before. I've got this bevel edge. Okay, let's see if it works with the corners though, because the newer Mayas have this segmenting. Oh, it does. Wow, look at that. See how it caps the corners nice? That's great. So now it's like as if I added edge loops, and then I'll just use the offset, middle mouse drag, hold the control shift when you middle mouse drag, you can get it in there. So now we've got a nice cube that can be rounded really easily now, because it puts this nice quads on the corners. This is really cool feature I use all the time in even the newer Mayas. So now we have that. We'll go here. We could convert that to a subdiv, or we could smooth it out like this. Let's see how it converts. Modify, convert. Let's see, Control D so I can duplicate it here. Modify, convert polys to subdivs. Let's see how well it subdivides. Yeah, looks pretty good. Then hit 3. And that looks pretty good. And then we got this, shift right click, and we'll just use the smooth on that guy. And I'll hit that divisions up to 3. That looks pretty good too. So let's turn off the wireframe on shaded. That's another thing I could probably make a quick key for. Turning that on and off. Let's see, fit. Yeah, boy, that looks really good. This is like what I get in my modern Maya, because I just convert the polygons to NURBS with the 3 key. It's a very low poly, but subdividing really nicely. It looks really cool with reflections rolling across it. Okay, Control H, I'll hide that guy. Let's do the same thing with this. This is fun. We're going to take this polycone. We're going to make it 3-sided. So it's like a little cone here. Right click edge. I'm going to grab all these guys. Shift right click with that wonderful marking menu. Hit bevel edge. Go up here to bevel, hit run the segments up once. Beautiful edges, beautiful thing. And then we'll take the offset, we'll make it a little tighter. And I'll take this one here and I will modify, Control D. See how that looks a little different here. Modify, convert. This is one I should build into a marking menu. Polygons, the subdiv. You know, and then hit 3. Yeah, it's a really smooth triangle. So control this guy over here. Control H, hide that guy. And let's see here. Let's do. I'm going to control on that so I make it a little wider. I'm hitting the control while holding the Y so I can widen the bottom without making it taller. And then I'll make it a little bigger. Get that guy there. Scale that guy up. I should have converted that to subdivs. Let's see here. I'll make it continuity divisions 1 again. So we're back at the original. Let's see if I do 0. Is that the original? Yeah, that's the original. Control D, make a duplicate, modify, convert polygons to subdivisions. There we go. Control H to hide that guy, hit 3 on that. So yeah, we've got these very low poly things that are subdividing, so they're smooth as if they're high poly, but they're just subdividing in real time. A neat looking little set of things here. And let's set that up. Let's get our deselect, shift right click, create a plane. This is kind of the same thing I did in the last tutorial, just setting up something. Middle mouse, drag that to here, zero it out so it's at the light. Let's see, let's rotate, and I'll do it 90 degrees on the X. Yeah, 90. Move it behind it so we don't block the light. Right click, we're going to assign a Lambert. So it's a light. Okay. Let's duplicate this. I'll show you. We'll make one shader here and I'll just duplicate it instead of the way we did it last time. So I'll show you a little different thing. So we'll create a new material. Fong E, and this will be our, you know, shiny underscore blue. Enter, and we'll make this blue, like I did before. This is going to look a little nicer with the linear light. Turn the roughness down. And now what we'll do is, in order to save time, let's use our little menu, Control Shift Z, Control Shift Z, get the hyper shade. And in order to not have to build that shader again, because it's what we want, go into the shiny blue here, and I'm just going to grab this guy down here, and I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate it, and hit Control D again to duplicate it again. And now, with that shiny blue, I could go grab this one, and we'll call this shiny green, because it's got all the settings we want already. It's a Fong already. And the same thing here with the, with the other one. Put this over here real quick. Shiny red. A little quicker way to get through the process here. And then, yeah, so we've got what we need for those, accept. And now we've got that, we'll just make U red and grab U and U green. It's way quicker, duplicating and renaming after you set your first shader up if you got one, it would be the same. Okay, and now let's use our settings. So we'll use our low, go in here to this mental ray. We've got the low settings. It's on, you know, like 640. Let's do 640 by 360, so it's kind of like a HD aspect ratio, right? Isn't that a should be. Why isn't that giving me that thing? 640 by 360. Yeah, all right, it doesn't update the device aspect ratio, I guess, when you set it by hand. All right, so we've got that low on that. Let's turn it on. Let's do a render and just see what kind of lighting we have. Since it's low, it should draw really quickly, and I can set the value of the light quickly. Alright, wow, what do we have here? I don't see the triangle at all. I must have turned something off here. Let's see. What is going on with you? Visibility on. Let's check our render stats here. Are these all the same? Control-Shift-Z, attribute SS. It's weird. I don't see that character in the render at all. Control-D duplicate. Hit the render again. Wow, our triangle doesn't appear. That is interesting. What is causing that? How do we troubleshoot this? Visible. It doesn't like the subdivide. All right, let's see. Can I have the polygon version back? Shift, select both those guys. Control H. I do have the cone here hidden. Shift H here. I'm gonna do that, and we will apply materials, existing materials, the shiny green, and we're gonna subdivide that smooth. And I need to do that probably up to level 3 to get it as smooth as the other thing. All right, let's try to scale that up here and make it pretty. All right, so let's click this guy and see. I'm not quite sure why that item wasn't showing up. But we have fast feedback loop, which is great when we have these, use these low settings. Okay, so there we are. We're starting to see some things. And we just need to turn the light up. So let's turn that down. And now, instead of having to go up to 100 something, let's just do it at like 15. It's probably plenty. Hit this guy. Oh yeah, it's too bright. But it's a nice fall off here. Okay, so you have all those things here. Turn that down. So 15 is too high. Let's try 8. Because it's not falling off as much as the old one. So let's try 8 and see if that looks good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And then I can do a little ambient light here. We'll add, create light, ambient light. Be a little too bright to start. So let's pull the intensity down to 0.030 or something like that. Hit that. Let's try the mid range now. Let's see. Hit the mid, and now we'll see I'm at -2, -1. We get a little bit better of a picture of it, but it still won't take as long. And we're low res right now. We're not using a super high res, using a 640 by 360. So it should still draw pretty fast. This is a 400 megahertz O2. You can see it's getting through it pretty good. Yeah, it looks pretty good. And now I like that light level. Nothing's blowing out. It looks pretty good. The ambient light's giving us a little bounce, a little fake GI. And let's go up to here. We'll turn on the high. And we'll go here and we'll make the image pretty big. Let's do 1280 by 720. We'll see this final quality image. And so you see this is the marking menus, the custom marking menus makes the modeling function a lot faster. Understanding how to make your own marking menus allows you to get to things quicker without having to mouse around and look for certain items. And being able to build your own shelves and your own shelf functions, you can put multiple functions in one button and have Maya act pretty quickly and function to whatever you need, like if you can get it to function. Other than, there's some commands here it's not spitting out for me for setting the resolution on the fly, which I'm sure if I looked online, the newer Mayas spit out an actual resolution width, resolution height thing for the current versions of Maya, but in these older ones there were some things where it's spitting out the UI function and not the actual result. So what else do we have here? I think those shadows are a little chattered on this one here, which I could set higher in the shadow quality. But for our needs right now, this is plenty to show the extended functionality of Maya and being able to customize Maya to do what you want it to do, and why, and really, combined with the thing I showed you before with the using the connection editor to connect certain things with custom rigs, and also to pull these commands out of the script editor to make it, make your own buttons perform certain tasks, and if you get further and deeper into scripting, which you can get, like, what was there was this website that was like, where you go for tutorials. I used to have a subscription there, and there's like, Mel scripting for artists, and it gave you a good breakdown of like string variables, like what a integer is, what a string is, what a float is, and how to use those things saved to those $ variables with for loops and if statements and programming functions, and it helps you extend functionality in Maya, and it's what I do a lot at work to create a lot of macro functions, so I can save myself a lot of menuing around by having one button do a lot of things to a lot of items. All right, I hope this is part 2 of the Maya series. I hope this was useful, and I hope you had fun watching it, and I hope that with some careful editing, it will be more focused this time than the last one. All right, thank you very much. Bye.